You ready to go?
Yep.
How's my hair? Is it crazy?
How's your hair? Cash me outside. How about that?
I couldn't find the note. Hey, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Steve, and this is 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, modding, fixing, breaking, reviewing, playing podcast. And in this week's old new news, I
don't know if this can we count this as old news, considering we've only seen it posted to our group, and I haven't seen anyone freak out about it. So who knows if anyone will be interested now? But apparently, the new Squier Affinity models have been leaked, or they're just normally published through Adorama. I went and looked on the Fender website, and they didn't have any of these listed there. So I'm assuming it's a leak.
I think this is a leak. I think Adorama
it feels leaky.
Posted these early, and I'm kind of surprised that they're still up.
I know they were still up today, and they've been up for like a week or so, something like that. But new Affinities look like they're all priced around $250.
Yeah, I was looking at this. I thought that this was maybe a little higher than they were. This one that's $330 is a guitar pack.
Right.
So some of these are packs, so they're a little higher price. Some of them, they've definitely. Okay, backing up.
All right, you can do it, Steve. You've got your thoughts cleared now.
So Squier, right? Squier, for those of you who don't follow Squier the way that we do.
Yeah, Squier aficionados
typically
is what we are.
Squier is structured from bullet is the worst. Squier,
right.
The I shouldn't say the worst.
It's the cheapest.
It's the cheapest. It's the lowest end. And then classic vibe, I guess, is the highest end of Squier.
Somewhere around there. I mean, they've got the contemporary.
Oh yeah,
I said that really weird. Contemporary.
Now they have contemporary. I'm not sure. Well, contemporary is more of a pickup.
The contemporaries have like a flat radius and are more like modern playing.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's more about design choices. It's not about quality.
Right, totally. Because I would put the contemporaries against the classic vibes for sure.
Because they had a contemporary Starcaster that I think was part of the Affinity series or something. Yeah.
No, wait.
Didn't they?
No, they had 3 Starcasters. They had the classic vibe, which is the one I have. They had the contemporary, which had the like EMG active style pickups, and then they had the Affinity, which had the open taped coil style pickups and no frills.
Anyway, the point is a classic vibe, maybe classic vibe, contemporary. They're kind of classic vibe, I guess, if you want a traditional style, contemporary if you want a modern style, and then in the middle is standard. With vintage modified, I guess, is above that.
They got so many lines just in Squier.
And below that is Affinity. And Affinity, like the Bullet series, traditionally is a smaller body.
Affinity is like the Plymouth to your Dodge, which is underneath your Chryslers.
Sure. What's underneath? What's underneath Plymouth?
Some sort of import brand that we've never seen.
Eagle? Do you remember Eagle
No.
back in the day? Yeah, Jeep. There was Jeep Eagle.
Oh, okay.
Back in the day, that was like old school.
If there was another line underneath Plymouth, then that would be Bullet, and Plymouth would be Affinity. I've completely sidetracked us now.
Well, now I think I was gonna say Hyundai. I think has a line above them. And then Kia is below them, and then it used to be like Daewoo was below Kia.
So, anyways, they put out this Adorama has leaked these new models, and I think the most interesting thing about them is finishes.
Yeah,
they've got some really cool finishes. Fender has been delivering in cool finishes in the Squier line. It used to be like Affinities and especially Bullets would just be the most awful looking drab colors. Like they would take seafoam green and make it seafoam gray.
They did that seafoam green. They did that like olive seafoam metallic thing.
Yeah.
On a lot of the Bullets.
They used to have this blue that was like the grayest version of blue. And it was so ugly on the Bullets and the Affinities. But they have some really, like they have this rose color on a Jazzmaster. I mean, I don't know why I'm holding up the iPad. You can see it on the screen.
You're talking about the Burgundy Mist?
Is that Burgundy Mist?
That's Burgundy Mist.
That's so attractive. And they have it on the Telecaster as well.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they have it on a few of the models. Then they have these Telecasters with the 2 humbucker 4 knob layout. And then they have this bass with a giant old pickup in there.
Yeah.
And it's a Jaguar shaped bass.
I've been looking at this, and it's a Jag bass, which Jag basses, I kind of want a Jag bass. I feel like I need one of those.
That would fit you very well, I think.
I'd be interested to know. I feel like a small, a thin body. If the Affinity basses are also thin body, I have to imagine they're kind of neck divey. Which,
this thing's probably gonna neck dive.
I can kind of live with neck divey on like semi hollow basses I have are neck divey.
That top horn is at the 13th fret, which isn't crazy. It's not like a telly body,
right? But it's
probably gonna be a little divey.
About weight too.
Yeah. If your neck's too heavy, just put lighter strings on it. Then it won't dive so much.
There you go. The other thing with this is that pickup just seems like it's in a really awkward position. But the more I stare at it, I think that's just bothering me aesthetically.
I think you wouldn't be able to decide until you had it in your hands and you could figure out where you were putting your thumb.
I think that's the position where I normally want my hand to be on any of like the 2 pickup basses that I own. I always want to be in between the 2 pickups, but I don't have anywhere that I can comfortably put my hand because I realize this is a totally different topic. I think my right hand technique on bass is bad. It always feels really awkward. It's definitely gotten a lot sloppier, I realized recently. But anyway, it doesn't have anything to do with this. What I can say is that pickup is, like I said, it just, something about one pickup basses where the pickup is just dead center. Like this feels cheap to me.
Well, you can visually tell that these are a budget guitar. You're not, even though they're going for cooler finishes now than we'd expect from Affinities, they still have a feel to them visually that's like, oh yeah, this is a budget instrument. But I think that's so neat that the Jazzmaster has Jazzmaster shaped pickups in it. I'm sure they're not like good representations of a Jazzmaster sound,
right?
But you could upgrade them really easily. They didn't throw, like a cheap humbucker in here or something like that. They went for a Jazzmaster shaped pickup, and I think that's really cool. And it's got the Strat trem on there. I think it's a really attractive, like first offset for someone. I wish this existed when I was a kid because I would have been all over this.
No, it's a really good series, and we've been kind of looking at I'm looking at the wrong thing.
You can do it.
I don't know why my brain, this is twice now, the Telecaster Deluxe, but they have like a traditional Telecaster as well.
Yeah.
With this.
They also have a bunch of Strats and stuff. And
the site just lists the pickups on the Jazzmaster as being ceramic single coil pickups. So they're
probably just a Strat pickup in a Jazzmaster cover
body.
Yeah.
And then the trem, of course, that's the one I've been trying to figure out why this looked a little off, and it's because it's a Strat trem on Jazzmaster body.
But that's like the what was that model guitar that Squier had? The Jagcaster. Yeah. It's doing like the Jagcaster thing. I also think it's interesting that they're swapping up colors of the pickguards. Like the blue version of that has a black pickguard. The rose version, or the what is it called? Burgundy Mist has a white pickguard. So you could potentially buy both and play swappy with the pickguards for some different color combinations.
Well, there are some of these. Oh, there's an Affinity jazz bass.
Well, there you go.
I'll let that load up for myself, maybe. We'll see. Yeah, I have not played an Affinity series guitar in a really long time. I've heard they've gotten a lot better than the ones that are lodged into my brain.
I tried out when I was super hot on the Bullet Mustangs.
So hot.
I went and tried out one of the Affinity Jaguars or Jazzmasters that's not from this line, but from the previous line. I tried it in a store, and I thought it was fine. I thought it was a good option, but it didn't grab my attention and my imagination and my affection the way the Bullet Mustang did. There was just something more special about that guitar to me. But I don't know. $250, $280 for a bunch of these. Prices are going up on everything all over the world these days. I feel like these are probably going to be a fun guitar for the money.
I think that's the other thing that's hard for me is I don't know how if these are priced appropriately, unfortunately.
Well, all the Mexican stuff, like the classic vibes and, the contemporaries and stuff like that, those are pushing $400, $450 now.
Yeah.
So these are half price of the higher end Squiers. Mm-hmm. They're a quarter of the price of your entry level Mexican Fender stuff. With a bunch of that Mexican stuff is pushing $1,000 now. So yeah, it's a quarter of that.
Yeah, Musician's Friend has the current HSS Strat at $230, and here we're looking at an HSS Strat for Flame Maple Top for $300. So it's a little bit of an increase, but it's not huge. A normal like SSS is $250, so $230 to $250 is not like a big jump.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess again, I don't follow the price points at this level. Not because I keep saying
because he's so well off. He doesn't even have to pay attention to this cheap trash anymore.
It's because I haven't shopped for a guitar in a long time.
Yeah, that's true too. Remember going to guitar shops and just
what are those?
Cruising around, like I'm going to check out this guitar shop because I've got time. I've got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
Remember that time in our life when we could be bored?
Yeah. Yesterday, I had rehearsal, and we're gonna have live cymbals on Sunday for Easter because we're doing outdoor service. But for rehearsal, we're indoor with live cymbals, and everybody was freaking out. And the drummer's like, I can't play any softer. and we're at the Lemon Grove campus, which is 2 miles away from Sam Ash. And the whole time I was I really wanted to be hey guys, I can be back. I can go to Sam Ash and be back in 20 minutes with some hot rods. Do you want me to just go get some hot rods?
Go get it, hot rod.
But it was also funny because I was standing right next to the drums. And I was like, this just feels normal to me for the first time.
I gotta say, I do not miss playing at church and standing right next to the drum kit. I did that for too long. It was not safe. It was not fun.
I still had my ears in, so I'm it was still blocking most of the. To me, I don't know, but I guess because I don't have to hear if the cymbals mix in with everything else, it's fine. If you're a vocalist and you can't mix the cymbals out of hearing your own vocal, I guess it's more of a problem. But whatever.
So anyways, these pictures of guitars are still up here.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? I want to read your comments. What do you think of these Affinities? Is anyone in our audience in the market for, $250 Squiers? Are these Affinities attractive to you? I'm kind of compelled by that Jazzmaster. I don't need it in my life, but if I was looking for a new cheap guitar to do a big modding journey on, that looks like fun to me. I wonder how it's routed. Because it's only got the single pickup switch on the lower horn. I wonder if there's a route for controls underneath that top horn to drop fun stuff into,
Maybe.
I mean, even if it's not routed, grab yourself a hammer and a chisel, right?
At least use a drill bit, Ryan.
Oh my gosh.
But if you're gonna
too soon.
The more I look at it, I think the blue with a black pickguard Jazzmaster looks.
No, I'd be going for that burgundy miss.
I think I would do burgundy and black. I think the white hardware on budget Squiers always looks bad to me.
And I think
and maybe it's just the picture. It could just be the picture.
I think that is what's making them look cheap, is you can see how cheap the pickguard looks.
Yeah, it's just too bright. It maybe if it was like a off-white, like a mint.
Right. Also, Fender I've noticed this. They do kind of an awful job of photographing their guitars. They're using light that's way too soft, and you lose all the depth of like the sparkle in the finish, and you lose like any depth that's going on with the pickguard materials and things like that. They tend to wash out their guitars for their product photography. And in one way, it's kind of better because you end up getting a guitar that looks better than it looked like in the pictures.
And in summary, you got anything else?
I don't.
A summary piece. Tomorrow, Ryan will be receiving his last piece of Fender gear.
Yeah, they're shipping me the.
Are you supposed to? Is it released?
Yeah, people already know about it. The Mustang Micro headphone plug amp thing. I'm going to do a demo of that and explore that. So I hope it's good. I hope I like it. I have a couple other cheap kind of like headphone style little things around here. I don't know if I'm going to do a comparison. I think if it makes sense, I'll do a comparison, but other than that, then I'm probably just going to do a straight demo of it first and then do comparisons later. I don't know. But yeah, what's new, dude? Do we do what's new now?
No, we do the next ad. This is sent by, the first ad was sent by Daniel Esporma.
Because technically the leaked affinities was a topic and now we're doing it. Okay.
Yeah. This is a Peavey T-40. How much do they want for this? Let's start with the price. $900. This is probably a good price is the problem.
The prices have been going up on the Peavey stuff.
This is a 1983 Peavey T-40, an extremely rare red and rosewood combo. Every bass player needs to own a T-40 at least once in their... I've never owned a T-40.
Well, then you're not a real bass player.
Well,
you
it doesn't say every
it.
real bass player. It just says every bass player.
Oh,
so
then you're not even a bass player.
A fake bass player.
Why is my internet going so bad?
I don't know. Might consider trades. This is a bass that can sound like any other passive bass.
Yeah, there's regular ones on here for $979, $284, $999.
So this is actually...
Why is this one $2,500?
Because it's old stock, whatever that means. Oh, that actually, that might be the super ferrite.
Oh, there's just the red body for $120 plus 25 shipping.
Good grief.
Yeah, the market has gone up on these. They used to be like, if you go to a pawn shop, there's the Kramer Gorky Park, and there's one of these hanging next to it.
Yeah,
like that's every pawn shop in America.
So these pickups, they have a bunch of switches on it that allow you to do a bunch of different things. This one's been plecked, and it includes the chainsaw molded plastic case, which is, these cases are actually kind of like, people will pay extra for these cases.
This is really clean, and the areas where the paint's roughed up a little bit is just your classic like natural relicing on the edges. Man, this is sharp. They should have done a lot more of this Peavey series in solid colors like this instead of doing the raw oak kind of look. I bet it weighs a ton, but damn, this is like the Rickenbacker of the 80s. I'm looking at this and getting real classy vibes. And just those fat bridges they threw on these things.
They actually comment, the only single downside to this bass is that it is a heavy beast.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think the weight falls in somewhere between 11 and 235 pounds. Oh, man. Is $900 too much for a T-40? No, not anymore. While you can still find natural finish T-40s in player shape in the $500 to $600 range, good luck finding this color combo in this shape anywhere near this price. The much more common red maple neck combo on Reverb is $300 more than what I'm asking. And then basically, apparently they just bought two basses, and that's why they have to sell this one. This is, man. This is a whole thing. Like, people talk about, people want to go back to the beginning of the season so they can put some money on the Cubbies. But I kind of just want to go back to like 2005.
So you could pick one of these up?
The problem is in 2005, I had Steve in 2005 money, which was like $10 an hour as a biotech intern. I need to go back to 2005.
Yeah, but you didn't have any kids or responsibility, dude. That $10 an hour then is like $75 an hour now.
No.
All you had to spend that money on was like gas.
I lived at home.
Yeah.
Did I have savings? I don't remember.
You had all that money to blow just on cool red guitars.
$10.
This is totally your style.
hour.
You could slim down your whole collection to your red Telecaster and this red bass, and that would be like your forever Steve rig.
If I sold all of my other guitars, I could afford this guitar.
I don't think I'd ever seen any of these with a solid color before seeing this ad, which is crazy.
I think I've seen black. I'm pretty sure I've just seen
Oh yeah,
all
I've seen black, but I've never seen the red. It pops.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe
So nice.
I've seen black and I've seen white. Like, of course, I guess like if you're pedantic, those aren't colors; those are shades.
Yes, that is pedantic for sure. We could get into hues and shades and all that sort of stuff and tints. All right.
don't know.
Don't get me started. You got to do your science thing last episode. You
want to
get,
do your color
You
thing?
get me started on color theory.
What Pantone is this, Ryan? Tell us. Let's talk about Pantone.
This isn't Pantone. This is more of like a short tone. That's a clothing joke. Pants, shorts. Get it? I don't know.
I don't get it.
I was going to say that I wish Peavey would reissue these, but then I realized they would not do the same bridge. They wouldn't do the same pickups. It would be a shadow of its former self. Like the hardware on these guitars makes it. Of course, like if they did a reissue, like it would probably be made out of some sort of wood that isn't the same weight as just iron,
Which would be good.
which would be nice. But man, the look of this thing and the knobs, the Peavey knobs, this is like peak Peavey right here.
What this needs is not for Peavey to reissue this. What this needs is someone like, I would say someone like a Hallmark. Not Hallmark,
Yeah, but
not actual Hallmark.
No, you mean like Eastwood.
Maybe Eastwood, but Eastwood usually uses
Normal
like
parts.
off-the-shelf hardware.
Yeah, that's
I'm
the
saying
problem.
Hallmark, where they're like, they're doing all the custom bridge work.
Yeah,
and-
they have like reproduction bridges made and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, if you could get a reproduction of this bridge and those pickups and even those knobs made, but with a different branding on them, there might be like an aftermarket market for these guitar parts.
I have a feeling these pickups just don't exist.
Oh, sure.
so-
we
I mean,
don't
I'm
even know. They might not even sound great, but damn, this guitar is sharp.
Yeah.
That's a sharp looking guitar.
So sharp. You could cut yourself on it.
So what's new, dude?
What's new is we need to do a sponsor spot right now.
Oh, okay.
This week's first sponsor is Chase Bliss Audio. We didn't grab any pedals anywhere, so Ryan's reaching around.
I've got an empty box for the Bliss Factory here.
I've got a full box for the Bliss Factory right here.
There you go.
This is the black one. It's not for sale. You can't buy any of these because they sold out. But we're going to show it to you anyway.
A lot of their stuff you can't even buy anymore.
Chase Bliss, they make pedals more creative than you are. If you're looking for just a ton of options, this was the Bliss Factory. This starts its life as a ZVEX Fuzz Factory, and then it gets the Chase Bliss treatment with all your little dip switches on the back and tons of switching options on the front.
All their pedals are just dripping with settings, like billions of combinations, guys. And I'm not joking.
You can just ramp things all over the place.
Ramp them,
ramping
bounce them,
LFOs, ramping
affect them, expression them, MIDI them. Oh my gosh, the sky is the limit with Chase Bliss pedals. And that's why we say, for pedals more creative than you are, go check out Chase Bliss Audio.
.com.
So what's new?
What's new is, let's do your what's new first, because I think it's going to flow better.
Well, yeah, it definitely flows. I jammed a drill through my finger. And it took my
Are
finger.
you flipping off the camera?
No, that's the wrong finger for that, but I could. I was drilling together a gate for my deck over the weekend, and I had the drill.
So you can lock. So when your kids get out, you can lock them out.
Right. I had the screw bit in my drill, not like not for drilling holes, but for driving screws. And I wasn't even running the drill, but I had full pressure on a screw, and I was being distracted by my children who were climbing over everything that I was doing, and the screw slipped off. I had full pressure on it, and I slammed that drill bit down into my fingernail, and it punctured right through the fingernail. And it is just as upsetting as that sounds. Like, it hurt a lot. I was supposed to play at church the next day. I was going to play the Acoustasonic at church. I had my pedal board put together for it, and I had it all planned out. And I was like, well, there's no possible way. I was like, oh, maybe I can limp through it. And I woke up Sunday morning just with my finger throbbing to the point where I'm like, gosh, I hope this isn't infected. But it's not infected. It seems to be healing fine. I can play guitar again now, recording on a Thursday, so 5 days later or whatever. But man, it's ugly. And thankfully, it's a pretty clean crack and it doesn't go all the way to the edge of my nail. But I'm not stoked about this growing out. Like, this is going to become a problem as it grows out.
It might just fall off.
Don't say that.
Might just fall off.
Shut up.
Well, when I did that to a toe. I didn't drill a hole.
Do you play guitar with your toes, Steve?
No, just listen. What I was going to say is I had a nail.
So mine's worse, right?
I had a nail fall off of a toe, but most of the new nail had already grown in. So it's kind of like it was like the new nail was really soft. It was kind of like I
had that happen once,
like a shedding beetle.
I totally wrecked a toenail, and it was so bad that I didn't even want to look at it. And I just wrapped it up with a Band-Aid, and I just kept wrapping it. And then one day, like, I took off the Band-Aid and I looked at it and I was like, okay, I gotta face the facts and see what's going on here. And I'm messing around with it, and then the toenail just falls off in my hand, and that's very upsetting. But then I had like half a toenail grown in underneath it.
So hopefully that's what happens with your finger.
I hope it doesn't fall off at all.
You know what you need is those. You already made the video for it. Is those little finger caps?
I don't want the finger condoms.
You need the finger condoms. They'll protect your fingers.
I don't think it's going to fall off. But I can play with it now. My fingernail is intact as it is. It just has a crack across like most of the middle. And there's a lot of bruising and dark, gross stuff underneath the nail. So I shouldn't be drilling things. I got to protect these moneymakers here, guys. Like I play any riffs that are important that anyone needs to hear, but still.
You know. Apparently you play some riff off of some kid's show. Yeah.
My son was watching this show when Steve came in today. I was like, oh, I rip off one of the riffs in here all the time for the pod for demo videos. It's the one that goes dun dun do 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 do.
Oh yeah, that
one. Oh. So what's new with you, man? You just got back from a big trip.
I did just get back from a big trip. Oh, there's a pawn shop.
Have a nice trip. See you next fall.
There's a pawn trip in Hurricane. There's a pawn shop in Hurricane, Utah called Family Pawn. It's a drive-through pawn shop. I don't understand how that works, but also it's like pawn shop, family pawn shop. It's fun for the whole family. Bring your kids. I didn't go in. I didn't have time, and that wasn't.
I think family means like family run, not for your.
No, it's like advertised as like
family fun.
Bring your whole family here to like buy stuff.
Interesting.
Like,
I have a feeling the drive-through thing, that's just for you selling things.
Probably, or maybe if you go to their website, you can buy
pick things up.
I don't know. Anyway, today is April Fool's Day.
The day that we're recording this.
The day we're recording
Don't be fooled. You're probably listening to this
on like April 4th.
On a Monday.
5th.
Yeah, we're recording on a Thursday. That is not the fool, guys. We're not trying to fool you right now.
5th.
On the 5th.
Comes out on the 5th. So there are a few April Fools on the internets.
A couple.
There was
one or two.
I didn't see a ton this year. I felt like I saw less than usual.
Well, there was more this year than last year because last year everyone just was like,
That's
never
true.
mind.
That's true.
Never mind.
I forgot about yours, and yours is really good.
Thank you.
I thought yours was very good.
I feel really good about mine.
Especially since at the time that I was watching it on my phone, my home internet was out. So
I did a fake unboxing of a mystery guitar, and I just edited the video to make it look like the signal was dropping on whatever device you were watching it. Like the resolution would drop intermittently, and then it would go to black and have like the spinning wheel. And I feel a bit like an asshole for getting so much pleasure out of all the people commenting that they went and restarted their routers.
The best. Well, I was just commenting it just to troll people into like when people were like, oh, it's like glitching. I was like, yeah, I just had to reset my router. I'm not even on it. But the actual funny thing is I didn't realize you were doing like the bit crushing.
Right.
Until I showed it to my wife on the TV because I was just watching it on my phone, and on the phone it just looks like you don't know how to operate a camera. It's just like going out of focus. I'm like, what's going? It's like it almost plays like a Tim and Eric bit, like public access thing.
No, I exported multiple versions of the video at different resolutions and then re-edited them in.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did a little bit of work on it. It was fun. I think the key to a good April Fool's gag is not working too hard on it. When you work too hard on it, then it crosses over into kind of like try hard cringe sort of territory.
I think it depends on how you do it, because I think so. I'll say the worst April Fools I've seen, the worst April Fool's joke I saw this year was Dean's. Did you see Dean's?
Was that the one with like the rainbow?
It's like the rainbow Dean ML.
I thought that was kind of cool.
It would be, but the problem with it is there's all these people in the comments going like, this would be better if it wasn't a joke, if you actually just sold this.
No, I would praise Dean for the first time in my life if they came out with a set of ironic photo finish guitars that have like kind of like really cheerful and out of character graphics for them, you know?
Yeah.
Like a My Little Pony themed Lisa Frank.
Exactly.
An officially licensed Lisa Frank Dean Razorback.
Yeah. The one that it was, I think they definitely put a lot of work into it. They got a couple. Well, I'll come back to this one.
Sure.
The JHS Walrus one. I've only actually seen the JHS content for it. I haven't seen much of the Walrus content.
I was only seeing photos. Are there videos or anything like that?
The JHS channel did like a couple Instagram stories where he's like, oh yeah, the guys at Walrus really knocked out, like the kilt setting is just like kilt, but it's like simplified. Like they just managed to get the best setting because the kilt has all these switches on it.
Right. So that's the trick. They made a 4-knob drive pedal. They photoshopped a 4-knob.
No, they made it.
They made it?
Yeah, it exists. Like Josh Scott is holding a physical product.
But it doesn't do those functions. It can't.
We don't think. We're assuming.
If it does those functions, I'll be shocked if they did all the DSP work to model all those different
well, it's all analog.
Things.
They're all
analog. It can't be all analog.
They're using it's called USMD. It's ultra small manufacturing devices.
I think that concept is fun. It's obviously a take on like the Muffaletta and the Bonsai and stuff like that, like having a single pedal that does a bunch of different settings. But the fact that in concept it does various completely different drive sounds.
Right.
I would like to see that in real life with fuzzes, where it doesn't have to be like a 9-position rotary switch. It could be like a 3-position switch. Like you have one fuzz pedal and it is a muff, it is a tone bender, it is a super fuzz. Okay. Maybe it's a fuzz face. Like it's like 4 or 5 classic fuzzes, because DIY builders always brag like, oh, like this fuzz is really only like 8 components. If it's only 8 components, you could put 5 fuzzes in a box for less components than like most normal pedals.
Yeah, but they're still a certain size unless you SMD them all.
No, the SMD is totally on the table.
All right.
I'm totally fine with that. Make a normal sized pedal that can be 5 classic fuzzes is what I'm asking for.
We just watched the Strandberg ukulele.
That was fun.
Yeah, and
I walked away from that actually thinking I'd play that.
Yeah, so this is, you're talking about the one that I think was they both did but I think when you do a lot of effort in the right way, it pays off. Like I think the Strandberg is in that. The fact that JHS Walrus has a physical product,
right?
That even if it's not a real product, there's a physical. It's like the JHS did the light bulb,
right? Years
ago, they mounted a light bulb to a box. It was a physical product. It just didn't do anything, right? Reverb.com's with Andy's. Did you watch that one?
I did. That was fun.
That was fun, and I think what put it over the top
But I think that might cross the line into like try too hard territory for
me. You think so?
Well, I think the thing I don't like is the false history sort of April Fool's gags. Where it's like,
because this person didn't exist at all.
Okay,
I like how they kept leaning into Andy's like, oh, but first here's my clean tone. And like, he's like,
I loved the constant fake outs. So like, and now we'll get into it.
Oh wait, but hold on. Here's a thing you probably want to know.
Right. That was cool.
And then of course they had a couple cameos from Blake, and from Philippe from Caroline, which was fun.
Which you can use to transition to
the Caroline April Fool's joke was they came out with the drive pedal. They sent an email out early this morning for a pedal called the Blues. It's the pedal for when you want the blues.
Pull it out, Steve. You've got one. Just stop burying the lead. They sent one to Steve, and it's really cool.
I have the Blues. This
and
is
it's green.
This is a OD 808 green. This thing cracks me up because the knobs. Caroline Guitar Company is well known for their cryptic knobs, their cryptic iconography. The ones on here are Stonks, Justice, and Medical, because it is Stonks, Lawyer, and Doctor.
Right. You've got your Blues Stock Trader, your Blues Lawyer, and your Blues Doctor here, and it's in that Dumble font sort of thing going on.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
I did.
And it says the Blues Expensive Amplifier. I haven't heard it yet in person. I watched the demos in the dark demo. It sounds like a really nice, kind of like lightly fizzy, creamy sort of overdrive.
I plugged it into my Black Star, which is a tiny little amp, and it sounds really good through that. And actually, one of the settings on here, which is a lot of fun, is and it's one of the recommended settings, is I think this is like the blackface setting, I want to say, because it's like a blackface or tweed.
Oh, okay.
Kind of tonal here. And then the drive all the way down and just using it as like a cleanish boost into the Black Star. I was like, there's so much volume here. And then my family started complaining about me being too loud with a 3-watt amplifier.
Steve, if people are complaining that you're too loud, it's just because you're playing music that they don't want to hear.
That's probably true.
No one complains when someone plays really good music really loud.
But this is really cool, and they're gonna make there is the email today was for a wood cap version of this, and they're going to.
Was it like a Prisma collab?
No, there's another company that they've been working with. I want to say it's called Reeve. The company is Reeves, but they do the similar type of top.
Gotcha. I only saw the picture. I didn't read the thing.
And I guess this is going to be a production pedal, I believe, in blue. When the final one comes out, but this one,
the green one, is pretty cool.
It's super cool, and it's a great sounding pedal. So big thanks for Caroline to sending that. I just kind of came out of the blue. So
I love that you're excited on their list to send stuff to when I'm the one who does demos.
You want to demo this?
I probably will want to film it at some point.
So yeah, that's it. There's some like weird Facebook April Fool's stuff going on today that I don't really want to talk about because it's dumb.
Oh my gosh, it's so dumb. And by the time this comes out, no one's gonna care. No one even cares what we're talking about right now.
They will still probably be complaining about it because they're going to be dealing with it for at least 28 days.
Really, really quick, my personal hot take on this: Gear Talk Praise and Worship, which is usually spelled out Gear Talk P&W, changed their name to Gear Talk WAP.
Worship and Praise.
Capital WAP. And they are losing members by the thousands over there right now because it's full of Christians and they're upset that it's named after the Wet Ass Pussy song now. I think it's hilarious. And the most hilarious thing about it, as someone who runs a side group for fun that nothing useful happens in, but I change the name on it constantly, I know all too well you have to wait 28 days to change your name on Facebook groups. The way you get around that is by having less than 100 members. Gear Talk has 30,000 members.
They just need to kick out 29,900 members, and then they can change the name
so
again.
They're stuck with Gear Talk Wet Ass Pussy on their praise and worship group for a month.
All right, this next ad was sent by Peter J. Stevens.
When you say it out loud. When you say it out loud, oh, it's so funny. Oh, we were doing the Hagstrom thing.
Well, that's what you got on the calendar.
Yeah, that's what I got you.
You didn't provide any information on this.
I didn't have the screen. Oh, I think I accidentally put it into. I noticed it's the last screen grab is here on.
Okay, custom guitar and amplifier. But then this is also just. Okay,
there's no information on there, so we don't have to worry about it.
This is Hagstrom guitar customized, works well with a G3X effects pedal attached.
And they want $500 for it.
500 Australian dollars, which I think is like 400 US.
This thing has been it's a Zoom, right? A Zoom multi-effect.
Yeah.
Has been hacked into this like semi-hollow ES335 style thing here with the foot switches included in the body. Like, I guess if you're going to hack into a guitar, semi-hollow has the least amount of wood to hack something like this into. It just looks like a crazy sloppy job.
Does this also include the Roland Blues Cube Street?
That was part of the ad, I think. So that's part of the $500. So you got to consider that this guitar is actually, they're selling it for like $350, $375, something like that, and consider the value of that.
Are these Hagstroms? Are these Hagstroms worth anything?
I don't know if they're worth anything. This is not the model of Hagstrom I would buy if I was going to buy a Hagstrom. But my impression is that the modern Hagstroms are really decent playable guitars at the prices that they sell them at.
I feel like this is the most ambitious pedal rehousing I've seen. We talked about the Chase Bliss builts not too long ago.
Yeah.
Those are a cleaner execution, but I don't think they're as ambitious as this.
Well, also this guitar's very dirty. Look at all the dust on it.
In order to get to this level of ambition, Built needs to rehouse a Chase Bliss Automatone series.
I should do this with the Zoom 2100 that I have. Like,
oh my gosh.
Hack it into a guitar. Zoom, like a lot of their modern stuff is really good. I have a feeling that there's some really decent sounds in this. My real question here is, how is it powered? Because this thing's got to be powered off of a wall wart for sure.
There's this big old battery on the back.
That's what was on the back.
That's the back. They literally just cut out the square for this on the back. And so I think what they did is they just cut out the back, and then cut the top to fit the face and the knobs, and then just pushed it in there.
Obviously, they're really happy with the results because they're selling it.
Yeah,
this guitar
that's how you know.
Really worked out. That's how you know, is they're trying to get rid of it. Comes with a nice case.
Oh, that makes it worth it.
You can't reverse this though. You can't take this guitar back to normal. It's done. Like, you have to want this.
This is absurd. This is just like, I don't.
And the placement of the foot switches on the guitar body, I'm sure they had to do that just because they're dropping it in there. They didn't actually reassign the positions of the foot switches.
Right.
That one closest to the arm rest area, that would bother me. I think I'd end up fudging that quite a bit. Even the knobs. Well, it's got two knobs broken off. This thing is such a...
Well, it just is missing the knobs. They're not broken off. They're just not there.
You know what the problem is?
Like, the pots are still intact.
They didn't go far enough. They should have taken apart that microcube and shoved the speaker into the guitar too. Like, the fact that you need to have an amp with this guitar is a major failure when they've already incorporated a multi-effect unit. You incorporate an amp, and then this thing is a standalone tone machine.
Sorry, I'm looking at pictures of this. They did hack this up. There's supposed to be a wall pedal on it.
No, there's a model that doesn't have the expression.
Oh, that's just... No, but this is a G3X. The G3X has...
Wow, they must have really hacked it up then if they were able to get rid of the expression pedal. I wonder if they I would have reassigned the expression pedal to one of the knobs on the guitar. I wonder if they did something like that. It would be so nice if there was more information about this guitar. But man, that's wild. $500. I don't know. I keep hearing that it's hard to come by guitars in Australia versus the rest of the world, and prices can be really crazy down there. So maybe this is a steal. Australians, $500 redos. Is this a steal despite it being completely mangled? Would you take your $1 kangaroo money and throw it at this just because it's a guitar for cheaper than you can normally get, despite its flaws?
Yeah, I think this was hacked up. I think maybe.
Well, we know the guitar was hacked up, but you're saying the multi-effect unit was hacked up.
Because look at where the knobs are located. Those knobs are like not.
Oh yeah, they're not centered.
They're not centered.
Yeah, you're right.
And I'm looking at pictures of it, and the knobs are supposed to be centered. Even on like one of the ones, the Zoom G3, which this isn't a G3, this is a G3X. It says on the panel.
Right.
But on the G3, the knobs are centered. Like each one of these is a separate effects bank that you can turn off and on.
It's so bonkers. You'd think that if they were fully hacking it up and reassigning the position of those switches, they would have put them somewhere else on the guitar. It's such an odd placement.
So I think the thing is
they're probably attached to a circuit board.
Yeah, they're probably attached to a circuit board. They can only move it so far.
Right.
And so what they did is they offset it just enough that the switch on the far, I guess, closest to the controls, so the far left of the pedal, the way I'm thinking about it, isn't right next to that volume.
Why this Zoom G3X? Why did they choose this? It's probably just because that's what they had. That is what they had, so that's what they used. What would be more ideal?
Anything else?
I think like the
HX Stomp.
No, like the Zoom MS50 would have been smart. The little single-sized one.
Yeah.
You're taking up a lot less real estate. You can stack multiple effects in it. You can run it off of, I think, 2 9-volt batteries. Not 9 volts, 2 AA batteries.
Okay. I'm going to let you finish, but I've solved this.
Okay, do it.
They should have built the name of seller Hagstrom of the future and just mounted this Zoom G3X to this Hagstrom guitar using door hinges.
All last episode.
Yeah,
talking about that bass.
Exactly.
No, I would have been much happier if this was like that's like more like a Devo mod where Mark Mothersbaugh would like duct tape pedals to his guitars and stuff like that. Like just attach this to the face of it. Like don't remove wood. You're in Australia. Guitars are hard to come by apparently. Don't take them out of the environment. Don't ruin a guitar just to hack in your multi-effect unit.
It's so dumb.
Like you cannot take this back. You remove this and there's a gaping hole in this guitar on both sides of it and multiple holes that no one wants. Kind of a sad thing to do to an otherwise kind of classy looking guitar. Oh, well, I'm looking forward to hearing from the Aussies in our audience.
How much this is.
Like, is this tempting is all I want to know. As an Australian, I keep hearing it's tough down there for guitars. Is this tempting at $500?
Tough out there for a pimp. All right, this show is also sponsored by Big Ear Pedals. Grant and Karen at Big Ear Pedals. Ryan just making.
We have a bit of extra content coming out this week. It's not going to come out today. Maybe I'll publish it tomorrow. We're doing our Unscall My Song video.
Oh yeah.
And one of the songs features the Albie.
Yeah.
And we heard it and like that's the Albie.
Yeah.
We can hear the Albie on this track and it's fun. So keep an ear out for that. It's a fun pedal. It's a curated multi-effect. This would have been a good one to drop into the Hagstrom.
There you go. That's a perfect pedal. It's
knobs,
so simple.
2 knobs. You put the lights underneath the pick guard or something like that, and you need only a single foot switch, and you have a multi-effect right there that you can drop. You can drop this into any Hagstrom you want, guys, without ruining it. You could replace the existing controls. 2 knobs on a 2 humbucker guitar, and the other knobs can be your main volume and your tone. Is perfect. Grant, Karen, make a drop-in for Hagstrom guitars.
Oh my gosh.
The Albie. But they've been longtime supporters of this show in multitudes of ways. They're good friends of ours. If you're shopping for a pedal that they make, whether it be a reverb, a curated multi-effect, a rat-style pedal, a really cool fuzz, go check out Big Ear Pedals. They've got some fun stuff.
We good?
So
we're good. We're moving
we're all
on.
good. We paid the bills.
All right. This next topic was sent into the Facebook group. Do you still have that queued up?
I have a screen grab. I have to get back to it because I was looking at other pictures on my phone. Where is it? Where is it? It's about snake oil. What is the biggest snake oil in the guitar industry, in your opinions? Asked Adam R. Pope. The Pope is asking.
Well, the biggest snake oil currently is the effects pedal line being sold by Rob Chapman, Snake Oil Effects.
Literally called snake oil.
Yeah.
I thought about this ever so slightly for about half a minute when I saw it. I was like, oh, that could be a fun topic to riff on. And my main takeaway right now, my hot take, is that anything could be snake oil to you. There's certainly products that get thrown around a lot, like, oh, hey, here's a nut made out of mammoth tusk. Here's a bridge made out of the same brass as Louis Armstrong's trumpet or something like that.
Right.
There's stuff in that neighborhood of things that are snake oil that people chase down for their individual builds and rigs and stuff like that. But we all have stuff that we do, like, oh yeah, this is the pick. This is the pick that I think it just sounds the best. It's just everyone that doesn't use this pick is being a dumbass.
Doesn't snake oil imply that it doesn't actually matter?
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's having, not that it doesn't matter, that it's having no effect. You can have something that is dumb to you.
I don't think it means no effect. I think it means like you think about what snake oil is, the medicine. It's a remedy that has no evidence behind it. It might do something. It might do something, but the reality is that the real snake oil, the real like medicinal stuff, it really just got you fucked up. Because it was mostly booze, and it was it became very popular because of prohibition. Surprise, surprise.
You want to hear a really, really fun fact?
I do.
The original actual snake oil does have demonstrable medicinal properties, but that's a specific type of Chinese snake. And in the United States, they were just grabbing any snake they could.
Just grabbing snakes.
They're just grabbing, or like
oiling snakes, finding the oiliest snake they could find and squeezing that oil out.
Or they were just like getting oil from like other stuff and being like,
yeah,
ancient Chinese secret. And people were like, yeah, that's the wrong kind of snake. That's a different kind of snake.
But it was this whole traveling salesman thing. And there's certainly a lot of that in the guitar gear industry of different, like people selling cables that are directional.
Yeah.
Like
that's the thing is like, that's what I think of as like actual, like a product that doesn't do anything, but maybe you think it's doing something.
Like
it doesn't.
Years and years ago, like 2 decades ago, I was huge into the Dean Markley Blue Steel strings. Their snake oil pitch on those is like they're cryogenically frozen.
That's fair. Yeah.
Can you believe it? These strings are cryogenically frozen. For all we know, all strings are cryogenically frozen. We have no idea if that actually makes a difference. It might be better to heat them up. Get your strings nice piping hot before you use them. But I did like those strings.
I didn't use organic strings, Ryan.
I didn't care if they were frozen or not. There was something about the feel of them that I liked.
Right.
I never once thought like, oh, it's because they're frozen and the other strings aren't frozen the way these are. So that's the difference. I think I just liked their gauges that they came in. So to me, it's all.
See, I think of something.
It's self-inflicted. I think we self-inflict these things. I don't think there's one big product that's like, oh man, this is the thing,
right? And
we're all being fooled by it,
right? And maybe this is this was an old thing from a while ago that came up in the what's it called? Sorry, my brain. In the Discord, I know, where basically somebody was trying to say that there's a whole back and forth about Jaguar saddles,
right?
And whether or not they sucked. And you had people who were like, I have experience as a guitar technician. I've worked in a guitar shop, whatever. And basically saying like the bridges are good if you're using them properly and you have it set up right and whatever. But if you don't know how to set it up right, then they're going to be a problem. And you had other people who were basically saying like, well, if they were so good, then why does mastery exist? And in a sense, like, which isn't to say that mastery
shouldn't
exist, or that mastery is a snake oil product, but they're also not like a panacea. And I think maybe that's part of the issue is does something have to be prescribed as like some sort of like guitar panacea?
What is a panacea?
Panacea is like a cure-all.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I think
is that one of those words where if I saw it written out, I would know the word, but I've never heard it said out loud?
Maybe. But I think of that in terms of like something like the remember the Groove Tubes Fat Finger?
Right.
Which later became a Fender product. Man,
for some reason.
Definitely never getting anything from Fender ever again. The Fat Finger was, you got to have that extra weight in your headstock, I guess.
And it's made out of brass, like trumpets.
Tone brass. And whatever, like I don't really, there's probably some like,
well, that came out of the whole 1970s thing of like, heavy means sustain.
Heavier is better. Yeah. And there's probably some like very loose, small correlation, but it's kind of like the Les Paul thing where people are like, check this out. Strum your Les Paul timer. Oh man, 30 seconds. You can still hear that note ring. It's like, who cares, man? Like, unless you're in Sun or Ghost or one of these kinds of bands, like, unless you're doing like super ambient or super doomy, like you're never sustaining a note for that long.
There are guitars I've played that do sustain longer than other guitars that I've played, but I play 16th notes and more.
It's the sustain. Well, then the sustain argument's even funny now when you have bands like Wolfpack that are getting like really popular, and kind of the rise of this like return to like a lot of funk influence and a lot of like indie rock and whatever, where it's like nobody's sustaining anything. Everything is like chicken picking compressed, or it's this disco funk influence, or whatever. And it's like it's a lot of quick fast attack notes.
There's a lot of ideas that go in and out of style that can be snake oily. And I think at this current point in guitar culture, a lot of that has been diffused to the point where people just realize, we all just want different things out of our instruments, and there's different ways to achieve that. And there's no one true perfect way to do anything. But when I first got on the internet back in the late 90s, like the Harmony Central forum days, like just people fighting, like, no, every guitar needs to be neck through. Bolt on, not good enough. Glued in neck, definitely not good enough. And then you have the people in the glued in neck camp like, no, the glue is a perfect seal, it's perfect contact. And now, I think the equivalent now is the stainless steel fret people.
I think stainless steel frets serve a purpose insofar that you just never have to get them replaced ever
But you
again.
do actually.
You?
They do still wear. They just wear slower. And I've actually seen people start to complain online like, hey, this guitar's supposed to have stainless steel frets, but I'm starting to get divots in it.
Well, at the rate...
Like, you can divot stainless steel. It's not impervious. It's not unobtainium.
Right.
Adamantium or whatever.
Maybe it's just at the rate that I play my guitars, they'll never wear down.
Right. There is practical things about it. It wears slower. People report that it's got a brighter sort of sound to it. I haven't noticed a lot of that with the guitar I have that has stainless steel frets. Like if no one told me it had stainless steel frets, I might not ever notice. But man, there's always something that's in people's heads that like, no, this is the way. This is the only thing that works. And anything that deviates from that, people are being dumbasses.
I think it is definitely harder now because there's so much like rapid response, and so many. Back in the Harmony Central, you mentioned Harmony Central.
Right.
Like basically, when you went to these independent forum sites, you kind of had these dominant personalities, and people tended to like not post links, or there just weren't a lot of links.
There weren't videos yet.
Right?
YouTube didn't exist yet.
YouTube, exactly.
If you wanted to hear sound samples, you had to go to a site that maybe had like a couple sound samples, and it was a little wave player.
Yeah.
And you had to sit there and wait for it to load for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. So what that brought to mind for me is what's the product called? Oh, idiot. Locking tuners.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna like I've had
locking tuners don't do what most people think they do.
Right. And locking tuners are great. They allow you to tune, like get your guitar. If you break a string, you want to make your string changes like way fast.
Right. They're very convenient,
very good for that.
For people who work on their guitars and want to do a quick string change.
But if you are having, if you're having an issue where your guitar's falling out of tune, locking tuners is probably a solution for that, like less than 10% of the time, maybe less than 5% of the time.
It's single digit percentage causing your tuning issues. Your biggest tuning issues are your bridge and your nut. And then followed after that, I mean, you got to check your truss rod, or something like that.
Right.
The tuners, unless you have tuners that are absolute crap and do actually slip out of tune, the thing that you can change about your tuners that will make them more tuning stable is just how you wind them.
Yeah.
If you're doing a lot of loose winds that are folding over each other, then they're going to slip and they're going to compress as you're playing.
They're going to be a little more unstable.
But if your winds are lined up really nice, you don't have as few as you need. You need enough to grab onto the post, but as few as you need, so they just kind of, a couple of them that just line up and they don't overlap each other. They're not going to slip. You're not going to go out of tune because of your winds. But there's people who think that just having the string go straight through a locking tuner and there's no winds at all, that's going to reduce their tuning issues. And to a certain extent, maybe, but the big tuning issues are really bridge and nut.
Yeah, or like you said, like stringing method.
Or there's things if you've got a tremolo, like a Bixby or even a Strat or a Jazzmaster tremolo, those can cause issues too. Those, bridge, nut, tremolo, those are your huge issues.
Yep.
And the tuners fall so far down below that.
And if you have an issue with, like if you buy a cheap guitar, right?
I've definitely had tuners. I've definitely had tuners that were so cheap or just mismatched to the guitar that they needed to be changed.
Yeah. I'm not saying it is or it isn't because I don't know. But as an example, like you have some of those Amazon, like guitars you can buy on Amazon for less than say 150, 200 bucks.
Sure.
And those sometimes the tuners on those are going to be more prone to failure because they're budget tuners. They're less than $20 a pack for those tuners. Replacing them with locking tuners will solve the problem of having bad tuners, but they're not fixing your tuning issues because by their nature they're locking.
Right.
They're fixing your tuning problems just as good as a solid set of Gotos, non-locking tuners or Grover non-locking tuners.
The vast majority of modern tuners are great.
Yeah,
they're great. You have to actually work pretty hard to find the crappy ones, and these import cheap brands do a good job of finding the crappy ones.
Yep,
I've had it. The TE90 FLT, the Harley Benton. The tuners on that are jumpy. They're not a pleasure to turn, but they hold friction and they stay in tune once you set tune. But I could easily go like, oh, I'd prefer to swap these out because they feel jumpy. They don't feel pleasurable when I'm tuning the guitar. Why are we cashing in money?
Because it's time for housekeeping. Housekeeping is where we talk about our Patreon. If you want to support the show for as little as $1 a month, you can head on over to patreon.com/ what?
You know how to find. There's a link below.
60 Cycle Hum. Like patreon.com/ 60 Cycle Humcast. We have more than one. I only found one in the email. I don't know where the other one went. I'm probably just losing my mind.
The list is getting long at the back of the video, man.
But where I don't know what's going on with my email. But this week at the $5 I think level, because it's 4 British pounds, we have Tim, which is
how many stones is that?
I don't know. And at the $10 level, which is the inner circle level, we have the email that says Stephen Williams. He's in the Facebook group under a different name, so I'll just send you a name, I guess. But yes, and he's on Facebook as I don't know why.
Steve is falling apart during this housekeeping bit.
This is a weird day.
Are you okay?
No. Steve McComber. I don't know why that was a problem. But thanks guys for supporting the show, and of course everyone else who supports the show through Patreon. or just by listening, leaving a review on iTunes, whatever. We super appreciate it. But yeah.
We use that money to make the show possible, to pay for production costs and things like that, to buy food. We bought burritos tonight to feed Steve and I and my family so that we don't have to be cooking meals over here on podcasting night. It's little things like that help keep this show viable. It makes it so that it's not a burden on us, and it makes it so that we're not doing this out of pocket. So it's a huge deal for us. The Patreon money, I mean, we pull in money various different ways through the podcast and through the YouTube channel, but the Patreon money goes directly to supporting this content. It doesn't go into, other fanciful things. Like, it is the support dollar for this show. So huge thanks to the Patreons.
All right, this last ad was sent by C. Noah. Can't pronounce it. Baus. This is a custom Fender Starcaster Strat guitar gun safe project. Must see. This is for $75 in Eatontown, New Jersey. This is a...
And by Starcaster, they mean the budget brand from Fender that was sold in Walmarts and Costco's and stuff like that. It doesn't mean the semi-hollow throwback to the 70s Starcaster model. This is a Stratocaster shape, is what I'm saying.
This is a Stratocaster style guitar that has 5 strings on it, and the pick guard has one real screw, and all the other screws in the pick guard are not real. And the one screw that's holding it down, I guess, is loose, so you can lift the pick guard up and turn it to reveal a Glock hidden underneath the pick guard.
Yeah, I mean, this is full use of a swimming pool route.
Yeah, no kidding. I guess all the pickups are fake in order to they have to be fake.
Yeah, they have to be, because and the pots too. He must have glued the knobs down to look like. Yeah. But there's a switch there as well. Maybe the switch fits in just fine. I don't want to see this in person, but I kind of want to see it in person. Like, I don't want to hang out with a person that made this in person.
They could have, if the strings were if the action was set high enough, you could use some really cheap pickups and just have them pushed all the way up.
But
then you'd think you'd have some wires dangling.
I've done enough work on Strat style guitars to know that this is still going to be a pain in the ass to push that pickguard to the side to grab that gun. This is going to be a major fumble if you're hiding a gun for, home protection purposes.
I guess that's the thing is where does this guitar need to sit in a room that having a guitar on a guitar stand or say on a hanger, this is the best place in that room.
Oh yeah, there's only one screw holding it in. You hang this on the wall, and you're there's my secret gun safe.
Also,
it gets bumped, or one day the gun just shifts in the guitar and it just falls out of the guitar onto the floor.
It looks like the pick guard is actually Velcroed down. You can see a little piece of Velcro in this first picture.
I mean, so much of
Velcro here.
So much about this guitar is suspect when you're looking at it,
But my other thing is I don't think it's gonna fall out. I just, again, I am looking around this room, and I guess when you are in a situation where you need to defend your home, and you're I need to get to a gun, but I need to be able to get to the gun in a way where the people who maybe also have guns don't realize I'm going to get a gun. So maybe the thought here is when people are where are all your valuables? You're let me go get my guitar. It's my most valuable possession. And then you lift it up and you hold it flat, and then you go, here you go. And as you start, they put their gun down so they can take the guitar from you. You go, joke's on you, and you open it up and you pull your gun out, and you're now I've got the gun. I don't know. That's all I can think of.
No, it's too many steps to get the gun out of here, because you got to be oh, let me grab this guitar, and then you're fumbling with the pick guard, and it's making scraping sounds against the strings, and you're oh, damn it, just move over to the side, rotate, and you're fumbling with it, trying to get a gun out of this. It'd make more sense if it didn't have strings on it at all. The strings are the problem, because if the strings weren't there, then the pickguard could be Velcroed down, and then you could more like rip it and grip it and grab your gun, sort of thing. Are you looking around for what guitar would be best?
Well, I was first thinking about that, but then I was thinking, like, if you're gonna mangle something, you could probably fit like a small. That'd be a really small pistol, probably too small.
My thought is, if you're going to have a secret gun safe, back of an amp.
But
you're like, you broke into my house. Let me turn off my amp really quick because it's making a feedback noise. It's really annoying. You reach back there. Your amp's got lots of room back there. You got your gun hidden. My main problem with all of this is these are things you leave out around the house. If you want, I have a major issue with leaving guns places where like kids and people can find them.
Well, and so that's the other thing is this is called Gun Safe Project, but the implication to me, at least,
there's nothing safe about
this. A gun safe is one, it is a place for a gun. Two, it is safe.
Right.
Things that are in a safe are like you can only access. I mean, I guess like if you have a rock that you hide a key in, is it a key safe or is it just a rock that you hide a key in?
Also, like something that people grab and pick up and play is the worst place to hide anything. Like if this wasn't even a gun, if this was like a money safe, like, and you leave it out and it's not in a case, because if you're putting it in a case, then you might as well just have a regular safe. Okay, right? but like imagine this scenario. You've got this, you're like, this is my secret safe. This is my secret hiding spot. No one knows about my secret loot in here. A friend comes over, like, oh, I didn't know you play guitar. And they pick it up and they start messing with it.
But they're not.
And they're like, why does this feel so weird?
But
and
they're not going to mess with it because it only has 5 strings. They're just going to be like, dude, what's up with your guitar?
Dude, no. I walk into someone's house and I see a guitar improperly stringed, I'm 100% picking it up.
That's true.
I'm like, I gotta check this thing out. What do you got going on? Maybe I'll fit. I might have strings in my trunk. Let me go get them. I'll fix this for you.
But it's missing a saddle. Do you have a saddle in it?
I might.
I will say, you mentioned my vacation.
I'd be like, let me borrow this. I'll take this home and fix it for you.
I posted this on Instagram. The cabin we stayed in one of the nights had a guitar in it, and the first thing I did was pick up the guitar and strum it and go, oh, it's out of tune. And so then I went to tune it, and only then did I realize that it only had like 2 of the 6 tuning pegs.
Right. The plastic had cracked off.
I was like, well, that's useless. So yeah, I could definitely, maybe you just see this and you go, oh, guitar. Maybe you approach it because you're seeing it from the wrong angle, so you don't see that it's missing.
I've never walked into a room with a guitar in it and not wanted to pick up the guitar.
Regardless of
the condition. And I would have, if this was laying out, if it was hanging on the wall, I would be instantly gravitated towards it. I would pick it up, instantly feel like something's wrong here. Be like, oh, something's rattling in here. What is going on with this guitar? And I'd immediately be investigating it.
Yeah.
This is not a good gun safe.
Best guitars to turn into a gun safe. Strat is... just like
it's too tricky to pull off that pickguard. I think that if you were going to do it, you get a hardtail Strat, but then you put the tremolo route on the back. It's just different enough that most people won't catch that that's odd. You've hollowed out the back with the tremolo route, and that's where you hide your gun.
I'm going to go with it'd have to be a small pistol, Fender Bullet. The original version 1, so the S1 or S3 model from like 1981, where it's got the all metal hardware, all metal bridge, all metal everything. You string that up slack. You put like maybe some kind of small latch on it so you can keep the pickguard latch down. And when you need it, you just flip that switch, flip the entire pickguard up, and then you're right there. You could even like use that as like a weapon, as a pre-weapon. So the guy's like, "What's your most valued thing?" And you go, "Oh, it's definitely this guitar. This is like $1,000 guitar." And you get it, and you're holding it to him neck first, and then you flip that switch, and you fling the pickguard in his face. So now he's like got this pickguard flying at his face, and while he's like trying to dodge it, you pull the gun out.
Self-defense fantasies are just the worst.
Just put it in the back of your amp. Don't put it in the back of your amp.
Put it in the back of your put an actual gun safe in the back of your amp that you have to punch a code into so that your kids can't get it or anyone else coming into your house can't get it.
Here's my solution, man.
What?
Machine gun nest on the roof. If you come inside my defensive perimeter without my permission, hey, castle doctrine. See you later.
That includes that mailman. He's shifty looking.
Yeah, and these are automated. This is just computer tracking systems. I get a little alert. Defensive perimeter has been breached. And if I don't hit cancel within 10 seconds, sorry. You better hope I'm not asleep.
And Steve takes a lot of naps. There's going to be a sign on your front lawn that says, if I'm asleep, you're dead. I think this is a dumb idea. I don't think anyone should do this. I don't think anyone should want this. I think if you are going to legitimately hide a weapon in an instrument, the way to do that is to go full custom with the body with hidden compartments and stuff like that. Like relying on pivoting the pick guard away is so sloppy and so dangerous. You're just going to shoot your dick off if you do something like this. You're going to fumble with a gun, getting it out of your strat. The person that you're trying to defend yourself against is going to see you doing it. They're going to shoot you. By the time you get the gun in your hand, you're going to shoot your dick off. And then they're going to laugh and watch you bleed out.
What's with you and people shooting their dicks off?
Look at the angle of it. Think about you're holding this guitar. You're messing around with it. You're fumbling with it. The gun starts to fall out of the guitar. You're grabbing at it. You accidentally. It's right there in your crotch because it's a guitar and that's where guitars live. You're going to shoot your dick off. All right, tell us about the song. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, this week's song was sent by, that's the wrong folder.
That's an unusual name. Welcome to the show. That's the wrong folder. You've got an unusual name.
This song was sent by Clark Starace. He says, here's 2 songs for my band, Wiped Out. We're going to play, he says, they're great representations of the band's surf punk vibe that would appeal to a reverb-centric audience. Let me know what you think, and if you think you'll be able to work them into the podcast, I'm working them into the podcast right now. So, whoa, this song is called Waves of Panic.
was great.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I really like the percussive tonality of all the instruments together. Like the bass, the drums, the guitar all had this really nice thump to everything that they were doing. That was really fun. Some nice little homages. I forgot how to say words. To a little bit of Dick Dale action in there with the scale work, and a little bit of pipeline in there as well is what I was picking out. I'm sure there was more that I missed, but that was fun. Really nice recording.
Yeah.
What do you think, Steve?
I think hopefully I'll remember to play their other song sometime. We don't have a lot of songs left, so.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye.
See ya.
Stay grounded.